From feeding billions to being sued for poisoning kids. From family-friendly clown commercials to secret experiments on children. This is the story McDonald's doesn't want you to know. Because behind the smiling face of Ronald McDonald lies one of the most powerful psychological operations in modern history. A system designed not just to sell you food, but to program your cravings, control your habits, and quietly reshape cities, diets, and economies around the globe. Everyone thinks McDonald's is just a fast food chain, but the truth is darker. What started as a burger stand became a global behavioral engineering machine, backed by government subsidies, manipulated science, and the destruction of local food systems. This isn't just about calories and clowns, this is about power. And in this video, we're exposing what McDonald's really is, how it took over the world, and how it's quietly rewriting your brain. Let's go back to where the golden arches first rose, and when the deal with the devil was made, how a milkshake salesman hijacked the American dream. The story begins in 1954 with a 52-year-old man named Ray Kroc. Not a chef, not a businessman, just a washed-up milkshake machine salesman. One day, Kroc gets an unusual order: 8 multi-mixers from a tiny burger joint in San Bernardino, California. Curious, he drives out to see it. What he finds is magic. A small stand run by the McDonald brothers, Dick and Mac, serving burgers, fries, and shakes at lightning speed. They called it the Speedy Service System, years before fast food even existed. No waiters, no silverware, no seating, just volume, efficiency, uniformity. Ray Kroc didn't just see a restaurant, he saw an empire. He convinces the brothers to let him franchise. He opens 1 McDonald's, then 2, then 10. Then he rewrites the agreement behind their backs and pushes them out entirely. By 1961, Ray Kroc buys the company for $2.7 million, leaving the brothers with nothing but their original store, which Kroc then builds a McDonald's next to, just to destroy them. The American dream? No, this was a corporate coup in a paper hat. Kroc wasn't selling food. He was selling a formula, a replicable, industrialized system for dominating neighborhoods, main streets, and eventually, the planet. McDonald's exploded. By the 1970s, over 3,000 locations. A new location opening every 5 hours. A $40 billion valuation by the late 80s. And they weren't just spreading burgers. They were exporting American culture, wrapped in red and yellow. But what Ray Kroc created wasn't a restaurant chain. It was the foundation of something far more disturbing. A system that would target children, manipulate biology, suppress health science, and reshape urban design. And it would all begin with a harmless ad campaign in the early 70s. How Ronald McDonald hijacked your child's brain. In 1971, McDonald's launched something that would change advertising and children forever. His name? Ronald McDonald. A smiling clown, cheerful, friendly, safe. But behind the painted face was a strategy rooted in behavioral psychology. McDonald's wasn't just selling food anymore. They were targeting childhood loyalty. Here's the dark part. The company hired developmental psychologists to study how children form habits, what sounds, shapes, and colors trigger dopamine, how to anchor joy to brand logos. They turned fast food into a ritual, a weekly reward, a celebration, a bribe. Enter Happy Meals. Each box was a Trojan horse, packed with branded toys, linked to movies, TV shows, and cartoons, loaded with calories, sugar, and salt, engineered to release dopamine in kids' brains. By 1990, McDonald's was the largest toy distributor in the world, more than Mattel, Hasbro, or Lego. Kids weren't just customers, they were being conditioned. Study after study showed the same thing. Children under 7 couldn't distinguish ads from entertainment. They believed Ronald McDonald was real, a friend, not a mascot. The result? By age 4, most American children could recognize the McDonald's logo. By age 6, many could identify Ronald, but not the President of the United States. Critics called it brainwashing, but McDonald's called it branding. And while they were building loyalty in children, they were also working behind the scenes to suppress the growing health crisis they were fueling. Lawsuits, obesity, and the supersized scandal. As the Happy Meal generation grew up, something else grew too. America's waistline. By the late 1990s, childhood obesity had tripled. Fast food was no longer just convenient, it was killing people. And at the center of the storm, McDonald's. In 2002, a group of New York teenagers sued McDonald's, blaming the company for their lifelong health problems: diabetes, high blood pressure, morbid obesity, and a lifetime addiction to junk food. It was the first major case to claim McDonald's knew the harm and marketed it anyway. The company argued the food was a matter of choice, but internal documents told another story. Leaked memos showed that McDonald's studied bliss point engineering, the ratio of sugar, salt, and fat, to create addiction-like responses, targeted black and low-income neighborhoods with ads, used terms like cradle-to-grave marketing internally, referencing lifelong customer capture. Then, in 2004, a man named Morgan Spurlock did something no one expected. He ate McDonald's for 30 days straight, documenting every bite. He gained 24 pounds. His liver was damaged. His sex drive collapsed, and his doctor told him to stop or risk permanent damage. The documentary, Super Size Me. It exploded, premiered at Sundance, was nominated for an Oscar, and made supersize a word McDonald's would never use again. Within weeks, McDonald's pulled the supersize option off its menu. They said it was unrelated, but nobody believed them. Public outrage surged. Obesity became a global headline. The Big Mac became a punchline. McDonald's was no longer a beloved brand, it was becoming a villain. But while the US courts were busy debating health claims, McDonald's was facing a bigger rebellion overseas. McDonald's global war, protests, bans, and foreign government fights. While lawsuits rocked the US, McDonald's was facing something even more dangerous abroad: cultural backlash. In 1999, a group of French farmers physically attacked a McDonald's under construction in the town of Millau. Led by activist José Bové, they dismantled the building brick by brick in front of cameras. Their reason? McDonald's represents the death of our food, our farms, and our future. The protests spread across Europe. Italy. McDonald's was accused of destroying traditional cuisine. Germany. Green Party leaders demanded bans over food quality and plastic waste. India. Religious groups protested the company for allegedly serving beef in a Hindu-majority nation, a scandal that sparked weeks of street protests. Meanwhile, in Brazil, McDonald's was accused of using meat from illegally deforested Amazon land, exploiting labor in franchise chains, evading taxes via a shell corporation. In Russia, the first McDonald's in Moscow opened in 1990, a symbol of Western capitalism arriving behind the Iron Curtain. But by 2014, as tensions rose over Ukraine, the Russian government began randomly inspecting McDonald's locations, effectively forcing shutdowns. The message was clear: you're not welcome here anymore. Even the Vatican protested. In 2016, McDonald's opened a location near St. Peter's Basilica, sparking outrage from Catholic cardinals who called it a disgraceful commercialization of sacred space. But despite global resistance, McDonald's pressed on. They used lobbyists to pressure foreign health ministries, trade deals to sneak in supply chains, local influencers to soft launch locations in culturally resistant markets. In the end, resistance often failed because McDonald's wasn't just fighting with burgers. They were armed with billions, lawyers, and a system designed to outlast protests. And that system was built on contracts most people never saw: franchise secrets, surveillance, and the hidden McPlaybook. Everyone thinks McDonald's is a fast food chain, but here's the twist: it's actually a real estate empire disguised as a burger company. Let's break it down. McDonald's owns more than 38,000 locations worldwide, but it doesn't run most of them. Instead, it leases locations to franchisees, individual owners who pay massive startup fees, monthly royalties, and rent. In some cases, higher than market rate. Franchisees pay an initial fee of $1 to $2 million, a monthly royalty of 4% plus of gross sales, real estate rent, often to McDonald's itself. But here's the sinister part: the contract terms are brutal. No control over pricing, mandatory purchases from approved suppliers, marketing fees deducted automatically. You can't change the menu, you can't unionize. You can be terminated at will for failing to meet brand standards, which are vague and ever shifting. One leaked training document reportedly stated, "The brand must be protected at all costs, including the removal of any operator who compromises it." And it doesn't stop there. Surveillance technology was quietly added to many franchises. Drive-through audio recorded, kitchen performance tracked, staff movements monitored, AI used to predict order time and customer mood. Some stores began experimenting with AI cashiers, facial recognition menus, and license plate tracking. Franchisees weren't just running a business, they were becoming nodes in a centralized control network, owned by McDonald's, operated by you, and surveilled from headquarters. And if you stepped out of line, termination, lawsuits, blacklist. In 2020, over 50 Black franchisees sued McDonald's, claiming racial discrimination, less profitable locations, higher startup costs, denied the same advertising budgets, forced into failure. One franchisee said, "It's a modern-day plantation system. You lease their land, follow their rules, and still can't make it out." But while franchisees fought back, McDonald's was investing in the next phase of its empire, one that didn't even need humans. AI burgers, automation, and the end of the worker. McDonald's has always sold speed, but now they're chasing something more: elimination of friction, of waste, of people. In 2019, McDonald's quietly bought a startup called Dynamic Yield for over $300 million. What did it do? AI-powered menus. These digital displays could track the weather, analyze your previous orders, factor in supply chain data, and recommend items to manipulate your choices in real time. Example, hot day? Suggest more McFlurries. Rainy evening? Push comfort food. Short staff? Remove labor-intensive menu items. But that was just phase one. By 2021, McDonald's was testing fully automated drive-thrus in Chicago. AI voice assistants taking orders, no human interaction, data captured for training future algorithms, and inside the stores, burger-flipping robots, self-cleaning fryers, self-serve kiosks, app-based loyalty tracking tied to your behavior. It's not just about efficiency, it's about control and profit. Each human worker replaced saves $20,000 plus per year. Each kiosk can upsell better than a teenager ever could. And every second saved means more orders per hour. Critics warn this is the death of service jobs. Unions are powerless. Minimum wage laws? Irrelevant when you don't hire humans. Even more chilling, insiders claim McDonald's is experimenting with facial recognition in some international test stores. Walk in, get recognized, your past orders pop up, ads customized in real time. It's fast food, but smarter than you. And here's the final twist. They've already started selling this AI tech to other chains. McDonald's isn't just flipping burgers, they're selling the algorithm that flips you. But what happens when this global machine, built to shape taste, behavior, and identity, enters developing nations? That's what we uncover next. Colonizing appetites, McDonald's invasion of the developing world. By the 2000s, McDonald's had saturated the West. The US market was flat, Europe was protesting. So where did the golden arches go? To the global South, where regulations were weak, wages were lower, and people were hungry for status. India, the cultural Trojan horse. In a country where beef is sacred, how do you sell burgers? You rebrand. McDonald's created the Mecaloo Tikki, a spiced potato patty tailored to Indian taste. They opened no beef, no pork restaurants. They positioned McDonald's as aspirational, clean, modern, global. But underneath the respect was manipulation, aggressive marketing to low-income youth, ads targeting first-job adults, promotions making fast food seem like success. Result? Fast food consumption tripled in 10 years. Childhood obesity surged. Local street vendors lost business. Brazil, the Amazon price. In Brazil, McDonald's was accused of buying meat linked to deforested Amazon land. Environmental groups traced supply chains. Cattle raised on illegal pastures, transported to McDonald's suppliers, served up as Big Macs. McDonald's denied direct involvement, but quietly adjusted sourcing after media pressure. Meanwhile, the company, underpaid staff in franchise chains, was sued for overworking teenagers, used student internships to get around labor laws. Africa, branding over nourishment. In parts of Africa, McDonald's was framed as a symbol of progress. TV ads showed modern families choosing McChicken over traditional dishes. But behind the scenes, processed food was replacing native crops, diabetes and hypertension began rising, local agriculture collapsed under pressure from global food suppliers. And here's the kicker, some McDonald's in Africa partnered with US aid organizations, using development programs to test expansion models under the guise of public-private cooperation. They weren't just selling food, they were installing culture, using fries as a foot in the door. McDonald's was no longer a brand. It had become an instrument of economic colonization, reshaping diets, economies, and values in every corner of the world. And if you think that sounds far-fetched, wait till you see what they did to science itself. Science for sale, how McDonald's funded nutrition lies. For decades, the science seemed off. How could food so clearly linked to obesity, heart disease, and diabetes not be officially condemned? The answer? McDonald's wasn't just influencing the public, they were influencing the scientific narrative itself. Step 1. Funding the research. McDonald's poured millions into university nutrition departments, dietetic organizations, public health education initiatives, many studies claiming fast food was not significantly harmful when eaten in moderation were co-funded by the food industry, often with undisclosed McDonald's ties. One now infamous study concluded, a fast food diet can be part of a balanced lifestyle. Fine print? It was co-authored by researchers funded by the National Restaurant Association, of which McDonald's is a founding member. Step 2. Partnering with health authorities. In the 1990s, McDonald's launched a campaign in partnership with the American Dietetic Association, now the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. They funded curriculum materials for schools, meal plans for nutritionists, conferences, and food pyramid posters. Teachers across the US handed out McDonald's funded worksheets to kids. Some of them even suggested ordering apples instead of fries as a health move, all while keeping the burger and soda untouched. This wasn't public health. It was branded wellness propaganda. Step 3. Silencing dissent. Researchers who did try to speak out often faced backlash. In 2006, a public health expert who published a paper on fast food's link to adolescent insulin resistance reported being blacklisted from funding after criticizing major food sponsors. Several universities were later caught editing press releases to soften headlines critical of fast food. One whistleblower said, if you go after soda or McDonald's, you're not just fighting bad science, you're fighting corporate PR machines embedded in the very system you're trying to reform. This goes beyond influence. This is narrative engineering. And now, with AI, big data, and biometric analytics entering the game, McDonald's may be evolving into something far more dangerous than a fast food chain. They're becoming an attention weapon. Brainwash, how McDonald's hacks psychology, dopamine, and habit loops. You don't just like McDonald's, you've been trained to crave it. From the moment you see the red and yellow sign, to the smell of fries, to the texture of the bun, every detail has been scientifically engineered to hijack your brain. Color psychology, why red and yellow? Red equals urgency, hunger. Yellow equals happiness, optimism. Together, they create subconscious excitement and arousal. Studies show people eat faster and order more in red-yellow environments than in blue or green. Dopamine and habit loops. Fast food doesn't just taste good, it triggers a chemical reward cycle. Here's how it works. Cue, golden arches, smell, add. Craving, anticipation of reward, dopamine spike. Response, you buy the food. Reward, sugar plus salt plus fat, dopamine hit. Repeat, brain wires the loop as default behavior. McDonald's exploits this with combo meals, which bundle calorie-dense food with fast service and low cognitive load. Your brain doesn't decide, it reacts. The nostalgia trap. Ever wonder why eating a Happy Meal as an adult still hits? That's not nostalgia, that's neurological anchoring. Your brain linked McDonald's to joy at an early age. Birthdays, car rides, Friday treats, all imprinted into memory. And now, stress or sadness can trigger unconscious cravings for that emotional reset. This is by design. One former marketing executive admitted, "We weren't just selling burgers, we were building rituals." The slot machine effect. McDonald's app features random discounts, surprise deals, points-based loyalty, limited time offers. This creates a variable reward schedule, the same psychological principle used in slot machines and gambling addiction. You keep checking, you keep hoping, you keep buying. And if it sounds like addiction, that's because it is. So where does this all lead? To a society where food isn't chosen, it's programmed. Where cravings aren't natural, they're manufactured. And McDonald's is the architect of that world. But behind all this psychological warfare, there's one last secret, hiding in plain sight. The one that makes everything else possible. The land grab. McDonald's real empire is built on property, not patties. Here's the conspiracy hiding in plain sight. McDonald's doesn't make most of its money selling burgers. It makes it by owning the land under every single one of them. Let that sink in. The real business model. As of today, McDonald's owns over $30 billion in real estate assets, making it one of the largest commercial landlords on Earth. The strategy? Buy land in high-traffic locations, build the store, lease it to franchisees at premium rates, collect rent and royalties for decades. In fact, McDonald's makes more money from rent than from food sales. In some reports, over 80% of the company's profits come from property, not Big Macs. And every new McDonald's location is a real estate deal first and a restaurant second. Why this matters? This model gives McDonald's unmatched control over franchisee behavior, city planning, zoning boards, urban sprawl. They don't have to sell you food. They just need someone else to lease the right to try. And when cities push back, McDonald's sends lawyers, not chefs. They've sued local governments to stop bans on drive-thrus, override health zoning restrictions, block minimum wage laws in lease areas. One lawyer once said, McDonald's isn't in the food business, they're in the land game. Expansion through crisis. During the 2008 financial crash, while thousands of restaurants folded, McDonald's went on a property shopping spree. Cheap land, empty buildings, they bought up locations across the US and abroad. Every economic downturn becomes an opportunity. Every protest about food, a distraction from real estate conquest. And now, with automation, surveillance, and delivery apps, McDonald's no longer needs your loyalty. They just need your neighborhood. But there's one final move in this game, the shift toward corporate immortality. The fast food empire may one day become invisible and completely unavoidable. Can you escape the system McDonald's built? You can stop eating the food. You can delete the app. You can never step inside a store again, but you still might not escape McDonald's. Because what McDonald's has built isn't just a chain. It's a global infrastructure of land, labor, psychology, and power. The Invisible Empire YouTube ads? McDonald's spends $2 billion a year on marketing. More than Apple, Nike, and Coca-Cola combined. Delivery apps? They dominate Uber Eats, DoorDash, and GrabFood in dozens of countries. School lunches? McDonald's nutrition partners help shape the food guidelines in multiple nations. Real estate? They're embedded in zoning boards and developer partnerships. Workforce? With over 1.7 million employees worldwide, they're one of the largest employers on Earth and a training ground for economic dependence. And now with AI, automation, and predictive algorithms, they may no longer need your loyalty. They just need your data. McDonald's isn't just a brand. It's a blueprint for how to shape human behavior, how to build rituals around consumption, how to extract value from time, space, and thought itself. It's the ultimate case study in modern capitalism. Cheap inputs, efficient systems, maximum control. But the real danger isn't the food. It's that we've come to accept its presence in our cities, our childhoods, our culture, as normal, as inevitable. And that's what they want. Because as long as the golden arches are familiar, you'll never question how they got there. So the next time you see a Happy Meal commercial, ask yourself, is this just lunch? Or is it a system you were born into? Because if you thought McDonald's was manipulative, wait till you hear about the bizarre toy that sparked outrage across the world. Watch next. Why did this weird toy get banned everywhere? The Labubu scandal. It's not just creepy. It's part of a disturbing trend you weren't supposed to notice.